Yes. And as a historian, whenever you come to Goa, have you been able to move around, see?
I've written quite a lot about Goa. I did a book with the late Prabhudas Gupta called Edge of Faith, about the Christian community. And his photographs were very much about the old, decayed side of the Catholic community, with the children going abroad, the end of Portuguese rule. My text was more about the syncretism. I got very interested in how so many of the Catholics knew which deity their ancestors worshipped, would go before marriage to ask the goddess, and those festivals which span the different communities. So the Three Sisters, you know, between Mapusa Church, between the mountains up outside, and that's fascinating to me. And I'd love to write some more about it. But there's a long essay attached to this Prabhudas Gupta book, Edge of Faith.
We have quite a few writers here. For example, Professor Pino. Have you had the opportunity of reading his work?
I know the wonderful woman in Aldona, Maria Couto. Yes, I know her, yes, and obviously everyone knows Amitav Ghosh. So I have little contact.
She's got a beautiful place there in Aldona. Have you been there?
I have.
Yeah. They've got a fort nearby, Kurzwe Fort. Were you by any chance?
I haven't been in the fort, but I've been to her house in Aldona.
You should. Maybe.
We have friends who live in Cortona, so we go quite a lot there.
Okay. And what's next on the anvil now? What's your next?
I don't know. I've just finished this book, Return of a King, and I've got to make a decision soon. One idea could be to do a big cultural history of the courts of India. Another idea could be outside India, about the decline and fall of the Ottoman Empire. I've done, in a sense, I've written about the Mughals so much, it might be interesting to try somewhere else now.
Yes. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. And now that you've traveled so much in India, do you think you would probably have another travel book on the anvil?
Not for the time being. I mean, I'm quite likely to publish a book of essays, because I've done so much, a lot of journalism, which is ready to, there's certainly enough to make a book out of now, but I want to do another big history next, I think.
Your wife, Olivia, is a very, very good artist. We are surrounded so
by
many of her works.
Images here, yeah.
Yes. And I see a lot of Indian influence in her work too. So, did she have any influence on you in your writing, or?
We both influence each other a lot. I mean, you know, we're living in the same house. So.
And how about children? Have they?
Yes, I mean, I think my youngest son is entirely brought up here, and he's in England for the first time. And for him, England's a foreign country. I mean, the little things he doesn't know. We were going up to Scotland. He didn't know what the buffet car was on the train. And I'm always surprised by, you know, the kind of things he knows or doesn't know. And they all speak Hindi, and my daughter certainly writes good Hindi, better than my reading and writing. My writing is very slow.
But will any of them take after you as a writer?
We'll see. I mean, I think what children always do is react against their parents first, and then they find their own way. So at the moment, I think certainly my daughter's chosen to go back to Scotland, but we'll see. We'll see. Life is long.
As a writer, did it come easy, or was it very difficult in the beginning stages? I'm sure after you won so many awards.
I was very lucky in that my first book was a big success, and I was lucky also in that the time I wrote this book in Xanadu was a period when it was very easy to publish travel books. There was a particular vogue for them at that moment. So I had an unusually easy start. I mean, being a writer is never easy, and starting off in writing is very difficult, but I was extremely lucky to begin with, and the thing, in a sense, has been to keep the momentum up since then, but we'll see.
Good. No, why I'm asking you this question is we have a lot of talent in Goa too, and a lot of them aren't able to do what they, to get down to writing. But do you have any tips of what they could do?
Yes, the simplest tip I've got, there's nothing complicated about writing. As Kingsley Amis said, the art of writing a book is the art of placing the seat of your trousers on the top of your seat. In other words, just sit down at a desk, shut the door, just get down to it. And there's no complicated alternative. You know, you just have to sit down, stop thinking of everything else, and focus on.
Because many times one thinks of, oh, in the good old days, people went up to the mountains to get inspiration and something like that.
The key is not to go up to the mountains. The key is just stay in your desk at your boring house, just carry on and do it. You find when you start writing that there are a million things that suddenly come into your mind that need doing. The light bulb that needs changing, the dal you haven't bought, the onions you need to get from the market, a million silly things. And you have to just have a piece of paper where you write these things down, but don't do it. Wait until the key is, I think, to preserve your mornings. If you can get up early, get to your desk, not get distracted by email, not go on the telephone to your friends, not go and turn on the TV, just sit down, focus, concentrate. Then the second half of the day you can do the chores, do anything else. But preserve your mornings right till lunchtime.
And you personally, you're mostly non-fiction at the moment, entirely. Do you have any plans of trying your hand at fiction?
No. I have tried fiction in the past, and it has not been a success. Never published it, but and I think it's good in life to know, it's a very important thing to know what you're bad at as well as what you're good at. And there are no prizes for writing bad fiction, if you
There were so many experiences that you had during your travel. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, it may happen, but I've got plenty of ideas for non-fiction.
Yeah, that itself, I think, occupies a lot of your time.
Yeah. But increasingly, Jaipur occupies, at this time of year now, when Jaipur's beginning in January.
The festival. That's a good, in fact, I'm going to come to that. You have founded this...
I was one of 3 people that founded this. Yes. It's a 3-man operation. There's me, there's Namita Gokhale, and there's Sanjoy Roy. And we have 3 very different jobs. Sanjoy is the producer. He does the logistics, the business side. Namita does the Desi, the Bhasha side, so all the Indian authors, and particularly the authors not in English, but writing in Bengali or Marathi or Konkani or whatever it is. And I do the Farangis. I bring in the authors from abroad. And we're a good team, actually. We're very different from each other. But what's crucial, I think, is that not one of us could do anyone else's job. And we all rely very strongly on each other to do the bits we can't, which is a very good basis for a team,
the best of everyone, yes. And do you find any, like recently there was some trouble because of Rushdie coming in and all, does that affect you? Do you find a lot of that happening?
It was a huge upset at the time. We made a huge mistake. Rushdie came originally in 2007, and he really made the festival. The fact that he'd been there turned it from something very small into something suddenly that was in the international media, and he had an incredible catalytic effect for us. And we didn't announce him that time. Then, 2 years ago, he asked that we put him on the poster. And I should have said at this point, someone, that's not sensible, you've got enemies here, politics, there's elections, Muslim leaders will want to make a demonstration. And I should have said, I didn't say that. I said, of course, we'll put your name up. Within 3 days, we had a fatwa from Deoband.
But do you find that shackling a little?
Well, it was extremely annoying at the time, and it was a very unpleasant few days. There were reports of assassins coming to kill him and this sort of thing. You never know how much, is this true, is this nonsense, So it made that one festival extremely tense and difficult. But since then, we had another festival last year when a few politicians tried to make a fuss about various things, and we didn't give an inch this year. We provided the authors that needed protection with these big burly bodyguards, and that did the trick. So I think the key is to stand your ground on these occasions.
That's good. And do you think there's scope for more of these type of festivals?
Well, when we started, there were no others, and there's now, I think, 64 in South Asia.
Is that too many?
Of which, well, if it's too many, some will die off. It's like too many shops, if it exceeds the market, then it'll... No, I think what people forget is that South Asia has a very old tradition of the public performance of literature. Literature, obviously, primarily is something that you do yourself. The writer is on his own in the study, and he's communicating to the reader on the reader's couch or the reader's chair or whatever. But there is also, in many cultures, and particularly here, the public performance. So in ancient Sangam literature, you had the gatherings of the poets and public performance of, in the Mughal courts, you had the mushaira with Ghalib and Dag and Zafar and Zok and all the other great poets competing with each other, you know, and sending couplets back and echoing them. So I think, you know, there are deep roots to this sort of thing. And Jaipur has grown. When we started, well, 2004, I did a reading in Diggy Palace, and 10 people turned up.
And now you've got...
and a 250,000. So we're doing something right.
It's good, and we wish you all the best in the future with all the festivals and whatever you're doing. And on behalf of everybody in Goa, especially on behalf of all of us at the Prudent Media, we thank you once again for coming and wish you a very pleasant stay in Goa.
Thank you very much.
Yeah? That's all we have time for now. And we leave you with best wishes, and do watch Prudent Media. Thank you.